So now let's talk about some of the science and the methods of aerobic programming. So there's a ton of different training methods. So what we're going to go through today is the different methods that you can use for each of the different goals and each of the different energy systems. And if you can get this right and use this, you're going to be able to do this stuff with your clients anyway, without having to understand every single little bit of nitty gritty for it and get some awesome results, which is most important. We can build up our expertise of this over time, but we need methods that work straight away. So the first one is the cardiac output method. This is the easiest one in the world. This is also considered low intensity steady state exercise. It's designed to increase the heart's ability to pump blood, enhance overall cardiovascular health, and improve oxygen delivery. And each of these methods, we're going to have the mechanism there. So it stimulates the eccentric hypertrophy of the heart, particularly the left ventricle, leads to a larger cavity, which means higher output. We don't have to stress about that too much, okay? So what we're going to look at is what we're trying to improve, and then the actual methodology for doing it, and then how we can put that into a periodized guideline. So for this one, heart rate should be maintained between 130 to 150 BPM. 30 to 90 minutes. 60 to 90 minutes is actually ideal for this. The longer you're in the cardiac output, the better it works. Increase the volume over time and can be formed 1 to 3 times a week. So for most clients, 30 minutes, 3 times a week is plenty to get them actually improving their cardiac output. Now, the bias that we have to this, I want to be very clear. Everything has a bias. Okay, so the bias that we have to this in this particular thing is improving aerobic performance for conditioning. So when it comes to fat loss, it's not really a big deal. It's just overall volume is better because the more exercise someone does, generally the more calorie output they have, and the type of exercise you give will be entirely based on their dietary strategy. So you probably do more low intensity cardio when someone's in a calorie deficit, high intensity when they're in a surplus, if you're looking at different cardiac health markers. But for the meantime, the bias of this is performance. So I will give an example of the performance goals for each one, and then also for general population training. So for this one, general population is pretty simple, easy. And for the athletic population, they should do a little bit longer. Now, cardiac power intervals help us improve oxygen supply at higher intensities and enhance the power endurance of the heart muscle. High intensity exercises that elevate the heart rate are the best things to do this. So maximal heart rate for 60 to 120 seconds, rest intervals 2 to 5 minutes, 4 2 rounds, 1 to twice a week. This is a tough one to improve. Now, the next one is the tempo method. So with let's make sure I didn't skip it. With the tempo method, increases the size and endurance of slow twitch muscle fibers, essential for aerobic and anaerobic performance. Basically, it's training done slowly. 2 second eccentric and concentric, 3 to 5 sets of 8 to 10, 3 to 4 exercises a workout. This is pretty rough. We see this in the strength aerobic method that we have in our programming, which is a great way to kind of combine both of these into a really nice structure to improve someone's aerobic capacity for someone who gets a little bit bored. And then we have high intensity continuous training. This one's really fun. Spinning, versiclimber, uphill lunges, or bike rides up a steep hill are the best way to do this. This is really good for someone who needs a high level of conditioning. I'd use this in grapplers, or someone who really struggles to lose fat off their legs. It does work. We won't go into the mechanisms why, but basically maximum resistance, low speed, maintain it for 10 to 20 minutes, once or twice a week. That is really, really rough. Okay. Then we have threshold training, which improves the maximum rate of ATP regeneration while enabling the body to produce more power while staying within aerobic limits for longer. This is rough. Maintain heart rate plus or minus 5 beats above anaerobic threshold for 3 to 5 minutes. Repeat 2 to 5 times in a session. Perform 1 to 2 times a week. Okay, so this is one I did for basketball really effectively. Basically run at 160 to 170 BPM for 5 minutes, rest 2 minutes, do it again. Do it 4 or 5 times. Very, very tough. Will burn fat like crazy. It makes you hungry as hell. It makes you vomit a little bit probably while you're doing it. Very, very effective method of training for someone. And then high resistance intervals. Basically what these do, aerobic endurance of fast twitch fibers. The exercises here, uphill sprints, sled drag, spin bikes, or other cardio of high resistance. Keep heart rate below the anaerobic threshold. Maximum intensity of 10 to 20 seconds per interval. Take rest intervals until heart rate drops to 130 to 140. And complete 15 to 20 intervals per workout. So with these different methods, what you can do is you can basically look at what your client needs, and then you can give them something that's going to work on that. For the vast majority of clients, you're going to find that cardiac output methods and giving them some cardiac power intervals, okay, are probably going to be enough. They're going to breach that guideline of having, not that guideline, they're going to target both those areas of high intensity interval training and also low intensity steady state. If we look at the tempo method, we can use that for our strength training for clients who are a little bit need more aerobic help. Okay, they need more ability to maintain their aerobic threshold. High intensity continuous training, only for clients who are just mean and they want to, really improve their endurance. For threshold training, we want someone who has to do does a sport that may be quite anaerobic in nature, like basketball, soccer, hockey, tennis, etc. It's really decent for that. And someone who just likes being punished. And high resistant intervals if someone needs to, do a sport where they have repeated high intensity efforts. For most clients, honestly, it still is low intensity, steady state, and cardio. And using the other intervals every now and then can make it a really fun way to give some variety of their training and make sure they get some killer results.